The cream-colored envelope sat on my marble kitchen counter like a landmine waiting to detonate. Even from across the room, I recognized my mother's perfect calligraphy, the same writing that had adorned countless birthday cards and Christmas presents before she decided I wasn't worth the ink anymore. I'm Serena, and 10 years ago I lost everything because I trusted my family. Now they want something from me, and the irony is almost poetic. Just throw it away, Rosalie said, sipping her coffee at my breakfast bar. You don't owe them anything. I picked up the envelope, its weight substantial, expensive paper stock announcing its importance. No, I want to see what kind of mental gymnastics they're attempting this time. Inside was an invitation, gold-leafed and pristine. I read it aloud. We cordially request the honor of your presence. No, wait. I laughed, a sharp, bitter sound. They're requesting the honor of my mansion. They want me to host their 50th wedding anniversary celebration. The audacity, Rosalie whispered, shaking her head. After everything they did? The memories crashed over me like a wave. Standing in the rain outside my foreclosed house, desperately dialing their number while the answering machine picked up again and again. Watching through social media as they celebrated Caleb's innovative startup with champagne in Hawaii while I slept in my car, too proud to tell anyone but Rosalie what had happened. My phone buzzed. Mother's number. I put it on speaker. Serena, darling, did you receive our invitation? Her voice dripped honey, the same tone she used when she convinced me to co-sign that mortgage. Your father and I thought it would be wonderful to celebrate in your beautiful home. You've done so well for yourself. Funny how you noticed that now, I replied, keeping my voice level. 10 years ago, you couldn't even return my calls? Oh, sweetheart, ancient history. Family should forgive and forget. Besides, Caleb feels terrible about everything. I caught Rosalie's eye. She was making gagging motions. Does he? I asked. Terrible enough to pay back the $300,000 you stole from me to fund his failed app? We didn't steal anything, Mother's voice sharpened. We made a family decision. You were always so dramatic about these things. If you'd just been more supportive. Supportive? My laugh could have cut glass. I supported all of you. I worked 2 jobs while going to college. I made half the mortgage payments on that house, and you remortgaged it behind my back for Caleb's pipe dream. Your brother had a vision. Your brother had a cocaine habit and a gambling problem, but sure, let's call it a vision. Silence crackled over the line. Then, softer. Serena, please. It would mean so much to your father and me. Everyone's been asking about our anniversary plans. The Kellys, the Manns. We can't exactly tell them our daughter refused to help us celebrate. And there it was. The real reason, their precious reputation. I looked around my kitchen, all marble and chrome, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Every inch bought with my own blood, sweat, and tears. Every dollar earned while they pretended I didn't exist. You know what? Yes. Rosalie's head snapped up. Really? Mother's voice brightened. Oh, darling, I knew you'd... I'll host your party, I continued. I'll give you the celebration you deserve. After hanging up, Rosalie stared at me. Please tell me you're not actually doing this out of the goodness of your heart. I walked to my home office and opened the bottom drawer of my filing cabinet. Inside was a red folder I'd been adding to for 10 years. Bank statements, email screenshots, voicemails transferred to digital files. A photograph of me standing outside my old house the day of the foreclosure, taken by a newspaper reporter who thought I was just another casualty of the housing crisis. They want to celebrate their perfect family? I smiled, running my fingers over the folder. Then let's give everyone the full picture, in high definition. Rosalie's eyes widened as understanding dawned. Serena, what exactly are you planning? Mother always said presentation is everything. I pulled out my phone and scrolled to a contact I'd been saving for just the right moment. And I know just the videographer to help us with ours. The phone rang twice before Jordan answered. I need someone to document a very special family reunion, I said. one where the truth finally gets its moment in the spotlight. I could practically hear Rosalie grinning behind me as I added, "And trust me, it's going to be one hell of a show." "The string quartet can set up here," I told the event planner, gesturing to the grand foyer's curved staircase. "And the catering stations will line the east wall of the ballroom." Jordan whistled as he panned his camera around the space. "This place is something else. Hard to believe you built all this in 10 years. "Spite is a powerful motivator," I said, checking my watch. "Rosalie should be here soon with the special materials." On cue, my best friend burst through the front door, carrying a sleek laptop and several USB drives. "Got everything we need, including that voicemail you never deleted." My stomach clenched at the memory. Mother's voice, syrupy sweet. "Caleb really needs this, honey. Don't be so selfish. Family helps family." Jordan lowered his camera. "So walk me through the plan again. Your parents think I'm just filming a standard anniversary video?" "Exactly." I led them into my home office. "You'll capture all the usual moments, guests arriving, toasts, dancing, but you'll also get their reactions when we show them this." I pulled up a carefully edited montage on my computer, screenshots of desperate text messages I'd sent them, bank statements showing the unauthorized mortgage withdrawal, social media posts of their luxury vacations while I worked minimum wage jobs. "Jesus," Jordan muttered, watching the footage. "They really left you with nothing?" "Almost nothing." I opened my desk drawer and pulled out a crumpled envelope. I kept my last pay stub from the diner. 12 hours on my feet, making $7.25 an hour, while they were posting photos from their cruise with Caleb. Rosalie squeezed my shoulder. "Remember when you stayed with me? You worked 3 jobs and still found time to take online business courses. Had to. No one else was going to save me." I stood up, straightening my blazer. "Now, let's talk about the menu cards." I pulled out a sample, elegant cream cardstock with gold lettering. "Look closer," I said, holding it up to the light. The watermark was barely visible, a miniature reproduction of the foreclosure notice. "Damn," Jordan said admiringly. "That's cold." "I learned from the best." I smiled thinly. Mother always said attention to detail matters. The doorbell rang. Through the security camera, I saw the florist waiting with sample arrangements. "Come on," I told them. "We have more staging to do." As we walked through the mansion, I pointed out strategic locations for Jordan's hidden cameras. "We need to capture every reaction, every whispered comment, every moment they realize their perfect family facade is crumbling." The florist gushed over the house while setting up her samples. "Such a beautiful home. Your parents must be so proud." I saw Rosalie bite back a laugh. "Oh, they had nothing to do with this place," I said pleasantly. "In fact, they've never even visited before?" The florist's smile faltered. "But they're having their anniversary party here? Ironic, isn't it?" I selected a dramatic arrangement of white lilies, Mother's favorite. "We'll need these on every table. And make sure they're fresh. Nothing worse than watching something beautiful decay in front of everyone's eyes." After the florist left, Jordan reviewed some test footage on his camera. "The lighting in here is perfect for capturing every expression. No one will be able to hide their reactions." My phone buzzed. A text from Mother. "Darling, Caleb mentioned he'd love to give a speech at the party. Wouldn't that be wonderful?" I showed it to Rosalie, who rolled her eyes. "Want to bet he uses it to pitch his latest business idea to your guests?" "Let him," I said, typing back a cheerful, "Of course." The more rope they give themselves, the better. We worked through the afternoon, perfecting every detail. Jordan set up his equipment while Rosalie helped me choose the perfect spots to plant our evidence. Years of collected proof, hidden in plain sight throughout the party. As the sun set, casting long shadows through the floor-to-ceiling windows, I stood in the ballroom where everything would unfold. "Having second thoughts?" Rosalie asked quietly. "I thought about the night they changed the locks on my house, how I'd stood in the rain, watching through the windows as they packed up my belongings. How Mother had seen me but turned away, closing the curtains. "No," I said, my voice steady. "They chose their golden child 10 years ago. Now they can watch their golden anniversary turn to ash." Jordan checked his watch. "I should head out. Big day tomorrow. Lots of prep work." As they left, I remained in the ballroom, imagining the scene that would unfold in just a few days. The shocked gasps, the horrified whispers, the moment my parents would realize that their perfect family portrait was about to be reframed in perfect, merciless detail. "Time to come home, Mother," I whispered to the empty room. "I've been waiting to welcome you properly." The string quartet's music floated through my mansion as guests arrived in their designer best. Jordan circulated with his camera, capturing the artificial warmth of family reunions while I played the perfect hostess. "Darling," Mother air-kissed my cheeks, her diamond earrings catching the light. "Everything looks absolutely magnificent, though perhaps the lilies are a touch aggressive for the space?" Before I could respond, Father wrapped me in a stiff hug. "Princess, you've outdone yourself. Always knew you had it in you to be successful." "Did you?" I kept my smile fixed. "Funny, I don't remember that vote of confidence when I needed it." He laughed uncomfortably and drifted toward the bar. "Serena," a familiar voice dripped with false enthusiasm. "Still living alone in this massive house. Such a shame." I turned to face Hadley, who'd apparently aged through spite and Botox. "Hadley, still living with your parents? Such a choice." She flushed. "I'm between properties, actually. Speaking of which, your brother was just telling me about his exciting new venture." "Was he?" I spotted Caleb holding court near the champagne fountain, gesturing dramatically to a group of older men. "Excuse me, I should say hello." As I approached, I caught the tail end of his pitch. "Revolutionary blockchain integration with sustainable agriculture. Ground floor opportunity." "Caleb," I interrupted smoothly, "wonderful to see you're still innovating." He turned, his smile not quite reaching his eyes. "Sis, I was just telling these gentlemen about my new startup. Actually, since you're here, maybe we could discuss potential investment." "Oh, honey," I patted his arm. "I learned my lesson about investing in family the hard way. But I'm sure these nice men would love to hear about your last venture, the one with the cryptocurrency for pets." The investors exchanged glances and began to drift away. "You always were jealous of my vision," Caleb hissed once they were gone. "Vision?" I laughed. "Is that what we're calling it now?" Jordan appeared with his camera. "Would you mind if I got some footage of the siblings together for the anniversary video?" "Of course not!" I pulled Caleb close, feeling him stiffen. "We have so many wonderful memories to share." "Perfect," Jordan said. "Maybe tell me about growing up together?" "Oh, Caleb was always the star," I said brightly. "Remember that time you needed emergency cash for your tech conference in Vegas? The one that somehow coincided with March Madness?" Caleb's grip on my shoulder tightened. "That's ancient history." "Is it? Funny how some debts never seem to get old." Mother's voice cut through the tension. "Everyone, Franklin is giving tours of Serena's lovely home. Do join him upstairs." I excused myself and followed the tour group, staying just out of sight. Jordan trailed behind, camera rolling. And of course, we helped Serena get her start, Father was saying to the assembled guests. "Always believed in investing in our children's futures." The crystal champagne flute in my hand nearly cracked under my grip. "Both your children seem so successful," someone commented. "You must be very proud." "Oh yes," Mother chimed in, though Serena was always so independent, wouldn't let us help much, not like Caleb, who understood the importance of family support. Rosalie appeared at my elbow. "Need a drink?" "Need several." I watched the tour continue down the hall. "They're rewriting history right in front of everyone." "Not for long." She nodded toward Jordan, who was capturing every word. The party continued, a glittering facade of family unity. I played my part perfectly, the grateful daughter, the generous host, the successful entrepreneur sharing her good fortune. Then I overheard it. Frankly, Mother was telling her bridge club friends in a staged whisper, we were worried about Serena for a while, so angry about that house situation, when we were only trying to help both our children equally. But look how well it turned out. Sometimes tough love is the best medicine. The crystal flute finally snapped in my hand. Shit, Rosalie muttered, quickly helping me clean up the mess. You're bleeding. I watched a drop of blood stain the pristine marble floor. Good, let it stain. Let something real mark this fake celebration. Almost time, Jordan whispered as he passed, patting his equipment bag meaningfully. I looked around my mansion, now full of people who'd watched me fall and never offered a hand up. Who'd believed every lie my parents told about my selfishness? Who were even now consuming my food and drink while swallowing the fiction that my success was somehow a family achievement. Ladies and gentlemen, I heard Father announce, if you'll all proceed to the ballroom, we have a special video presentation prepared. I caught Rosalie's eye and nodded. Showtime. The ballroom buzzed with anticipation as guests found their seats. Jordan stood by the projection system, giving me a subtle thumbs up. Everything was ready. Before we begin the video, Mother announced, champagne flute raised, I'd like to say a few words about family unity. I caught Rosalie rolling her eyes behind her own glass. Franklin and I have been blessed with two wonderful children, Mother continued, her voice thick with performative emotion. Through all life's ups and downs, we've supported each other unconditionally. My hand tightened around my fresh champagne glass. Next to me, Caleb smirked. Even when times were tough, Mother's gaze swept the room, we made sacrifices for each other. That's what real family does. Sacrifices? I couldn't help myself. Would you like to elaborate on those sacrifices, Mother? She faltered for just a moment. Well, of course, dear. Like when we helped you learn independence. A few guests chuckled. I stood up. That's an interesting way to phrase it. I moved to the front of the room. Since we're on the topic of family history, why don't we watch that video now? Wait, Caleb interrupted. I thought I was giving my speech first. Oh, you'll have your moment, brother. Trust me. Jordan dimmed the lights. The massive screen flickered to life. One moment, I addressed the crowd. While we're celebrating family unity, I overheard some confusion about how I acquired this house. Mother, Father, would you like to clarify for everyone how you helped me achieve this success? Father puffed up proudly. Well, we always encouraged your ambitions. Really? I turned to the guests. Because I have a different memory. Jordan, could you play that clip from earlier? The screen showed Father from just an hour ago. And of course, we helped Serena get her start. Always believed in investing in our children's futures. Interesting. I paced slowly across the front of the room. Would anyone like to guess how much my parents invested in my future? The exact dollar amount? Mother stood abruptly. Serena, this isn't the time. Actually, it's exactly the time. The amount was negative $300,000. That's how much they took from me. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Now, Father attempted to laugh it off. You're making it sound so dramatic. Jordan, I called out. Play the rain footage. The screen showed a shaky cell phone video. Me, standing in a downpour outside my old house, pounding on the door. Mother's face appeared briefly in the window before the curtain closed. That was the night they changed the locks, I explained to the stunned audience, after remortgaging my house without my knowledge to fund Caleb's startup. That's a lie, Caleb shouted, jumping to his feet. Is it? Jordan, the bank statements, please? Documents filled the screen, mortgage papers, withdrawal records, transfer confirmations to Caleb Tech Ventures. Stop this at once, Mother's voice shook with rage. Why? Isn't this the family unity you wanted to celebrate? Here's another classic family moment. The screen showed Mother's social media posts, cocktails on a Hawaiian beach, tagged Chuck Family Vacation Chakra Blessed. The timestamp matched another document, my pay stub from working the night shift at a 24-hour diner. You see, I continued as the evidence mounted on screen, while I was sleeping in my car and working 3 jobs, my loving family was investing in their favorite child's dreams. And when it all fell apart, they had a very unique way of showing support. Jordan played the saved voicemail. Caleb really needs this, honey. Don't be so selfish. Family helps family. The ballroom had gone deathly quiet. Hadley's mouth hung open. Several guests were staring at their shoes. Serena, Father's voice cracked. We never meant to get caught, I finished. To have your perfect family facade crumble in front of all your friends? To face actual consequences for once? How dare you? Mother hissed. After we gave you everything, you gave me nothing, my voice finally broke. You took everything I had and gave it to him. I pointed at Caleb, who had gone pale. And then you abandoned me when I needed you most. The screen continued cycling through evidence. Ignored texts, declined calls, social media posts showing their luxurious lifestyle while I rebuilt from nothing. But you're right about one thing, Mother. I lifted my glass. Family does make sacrifices. I sacrificed my trust, my home, and 10 years of my life learning that lesson. And now you get to sacrifice your reputation. Jordan's camera panned across the horrified faces of the guests. Mother's mascara had begun to run. Father seemed to have aged a decade in minutes. And Caleb? Caleb was already edging toward the door. Now then, I smiled at the stunned crowd. Who's ready for the main feature? The opening montage started innocently enough. Childhood photos set to soft piano music. Me and Caleb building sandcastles. Family picnics. Christmas mornings. Oh, how precious, someone whispered. Then the music changed. A harsh electronic beat replaced the gentle piano. What's happening? Mother demanded as the screen filled with a high-resolution scan of the foreclosure notice. Just keeping it real, I said, taking center stage. Since we're celebrating history, let's not skip the important parts. Email chains populated the screen. My desperate messages. Please answer your phone. The bank is taking the house. I don't understand. How could you remortgage without telling me? Mom, Dad, I'm sleeping in my car. Please help. Each one marked read with no response. Turn it off, Father shouted at Jordan, who kept filming steadily. Can't do that, sir. Professional integrity. The screen split to show surveillance footage from my old neighborhood. Me, loading what few possessions I could fit into my beaten-up Honda. Mother and Father pulling up in their Mercedes, walking past without a glance. You recorded us? Mother's voice shook with outrage. The security cameras did. Amazing what you can request from county records. Caleb tried to bolt for the door, but Rosalie blocked his path. Stay for the best part, buddy. Your startup pitch videos are coming up. Sure enough, the screen filled with Caleb's face, younger and cocaine jittery, promising investors revolutionary tech solutions, while charts showed hundreds of thousands disappearing into his company's accounts. This is slander, he shouted. Actually, I corrected, it's public record. Your bankruptcy filing was very detailed. The footage shifted to social media posts. My parents on cruise ships, at spa retreats, funding Caleb's fresh starts, while I worked double shifts. Each post time-stamped, each luxury purchase documented alongside my minimum wage deposits. You're just jealous, Mother spat, mascara streaming down her face. You always resented Caleb's success. Success? I laughed. Jordan, show them the Vegas footage. Security camera clips from various casinos showed Caleb gambling away investor funds at high-stakes tables. Mother and Father covering his markers with money that should have been paying my mortgage. My God, Hadley breathed. You monsters. Now, I smiled. They're not monsters. They're just family. The screen filled with newspaper clippings, local coverage of the housing crisis, featuring my old house, business articles about Caleb Tech's collapse, and finally, years later, stories about my rise in real estate development. Not one penny, I addressed the crowd. That's how much help I got building this life. While they funded failure after failure for their precious son, I slept in my car, worked every job I could find, and taught myself business at the public library. We did what we thought was best, Father tried weakly. Best for who? Rosalie shot back. I watched her cry herself to sleep on my couch for months while you were posting about family loyalty on Facebook. The final sequence began playing, a perfect mirror of the opening montage. But instead of happy family photos, it showed the reality. Empty chairs at holidays, ignored birthday cards, years of calculated indifference while I rebuilt my life from scratch. Happy anniversary! I raised my glass to my shell-shocked parents. Here's to family unity. Mother lunged for me, hand raised to slap, but Jordan caught it all on camera. Careful, he warned. Battery assault looks bad in court. You've ruined everything, she sobbed. No, Mother. You did that years ago. I just made sure everyone saw the footage. Guests began standing, gathering their things in uncomfortable silence. Some shot disgusted looks at my parents. Others wouldn't meet anyone's eye. Wait, Caleb pleaded as his potential investors headed for the exit. My business proposal is exactly as solid as your last one, I finished. But don't worry, I'm sure Mom and Dad will fund it. That's what real family does, right? Father sagged in his chair, looking ancient. I never thought. We never meant it to go this far. Funny. I walked to the screen, now showing that final image of me outside my foreclosed house. That's exactly what I thought when you changed the locks. The ballroom had nearly emptied. Only my parents, Caleb, Rosalie, Jordan, and a lingering Hadley remained. Well, I smiled at my trembling mother. I think that's enough family history for one night. Jordan, did you get everything? He patted his camera. Every second, including all the guest reactions. Perfect, I turned to my family. The exit is that way. Try not to steal anything on your way out, though I suppose old habits die hard. The aftermath was exactly as chaotic as I'd expected. Guests fled like rats from a sinking ship, their expensive heels clicking rapidly across my marble floors. Some paused only long enough to grab their gift bags, now ironically stuffed with USB drives containing copies of the full video presentation. You've destroyed this family, Mother's mascara-stained face contorted with rage. Is that what you wanted? Destroyed? I laughed. No, Mother, I just showed everyone what you already broke. Caleb charged toward me, his face red. You stupid bitch, I had investors lined up tonight. Rosalie stepped between us. Back off, startup boy. The only thing you had lined up was another scam. It wasn't a scam. He turned to our parents. Tell her my business is legitimate this time. Father couldn't even look at him. He just sat there, staring at his hands, looking smaller than I'd ever seen him. Oh my God, Hadley's voice cut through the tension. She was scrolling through her phone. It's already hitting social media. Someone live-streamed the whole thing. What? Mother grabbed her own phone, fingers trembling. No. Karma's really embracing digital these days, isn't it? I smiled. Jordan, make sure you get this part too. You can't film this! Caleb lunged for Jordan's camera but stumbled, knocking over a champagne tower. The crystal glasses shattered across the floor, a perfect metaphor for the evening. Actually, I can, Jordan replied calmly. Your sister had everyone sign media releases at the door, standard practice for event photography. You did read what you signed, right? Caleb's face went from red to white. You planned this, all of it. For 10 years, I confirmed. Though you made it surprisingly easy, your social media trail of failures and fraud was very thorough. Mother suddenly rushed at me, hand raised. The slap echoed through the nearly empty ballroom. Feel better? I asked, touching my cheek, because that's assault on camera and I'm pressing charges. You wouldn't dare, she gasped. Try me. I learned from the best how to hurt family. Father finally stood up. Enough. Reagan, let's go. We need to think. Think? I scoffed. That's a first. He turned to me, aged eyes wet. I didn't think it would go this far. You keep saying that, I noted. But how far did you think abandoning your daughter would go? How far did you think stealing her house would go? We didn't steal, Mother began, but Hadley cut her off. Actually, Mrs. Daniels, you did. Everyone turned to look at her. My mother's a real estate attorney, remember? She looked over the original deed when I showed her the video. Serena's name was never legally removed. What you did wasn't just cruel, it was fraud. The silence that followed was deafening. Fraud? I tested the word. Jordan, did you get that confession on camera too? He nodded, still filming. Caleb grabbed Mother's arm. We need to leave, now. Before I what? I stepped closer. Before I press criminal charges? Before I sue you all for everything you've got left? Or before I send this footage to every investor and business contact in your phone? You wouldn't, he whispered. I pulled out my phone and held it up. I already did. Check your email. His phone started buzzing immediately. From the look on his face, his investors were not happy. Let's go, Father said quietly, pulling Mother toward the door. There's nothing left to say. Oh, there's plenty left to say, I called after them, but I think the video says it all better than I could. They shuffled out, a broken parade of designer clothes and destroyed pretenses. Only Hadley lingered. For what it's worth, she said, I always knew something was wrong about their story. The way they talked about you after everything. It never added up. Thanks, I replied, though you could have said something sooner. She shrugged. Would it have helped? Probably not. After she left, Rosalie hugged me tight. You okay? I touched my cheek where Mother's slap still stung. Better than okay. I feel light. Jordan lowered his camera. That's a wrap, I guess. Want me to edit together a highlight reel? Please, make sure to include Mother's assault. My lawyer will want to see that. You're really pressing charges? Rosalie asked. I looked around my empty ballroom at the shattered champagne glasses and abandoned gift bags. At the screen still frozen on that image of me in the rain, homeless and desperate while they lived their best lives. Yes, I said firmly. It's time they learned about consequences, the hard way, just like I did. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing the next morning. News travels fast in the age of social media, and apparently a wealthy family's public implosion makes for irresistible content. Have you seen this? Rosalie sent me a link to a local news website. The headline read, Golden Anniversary Turns to Lead, Family Fraud Exposed at Society Event. Before I could respond, another call came in, my investor friend from Morocco. Serena, he said without preamble, your brother just tried to pitch me his new venture. Something about blockchain and sustainable agriculture. Let me guess, he needs startup capital? He was very persistent until I mentioned seeing certain unedited family footage. I smiled. And I told him I don't invest in people who steal from their own sisters. Neither do any of my associates. After hanging up, I opened the old box from my foreclosed house, the one I'd kept sealed for 10 years. Inside, beneath old photos and worthless papers, I found what I was looking for. A handwritten note from my grandmother, my dearest Serena. It read, Never let them silence your truth. You're stronger than they know. My phone buzzed again. A text from Hadley. OMG, your brother just got served with papers outside Starbucks. Someone got it on video. I clicked the link. Sure enough, there was Caleb, spluttering as a process server handed him a thick envelope. The comments were ruthless. Karma comes with receipts. Family fraud finally faces consequences. Rosalie burst through my front door without knocking. Your mother's trying to spin this on social media, says you're mentally unstable and edited the footage. Is she now? I pulled up my laptop. Jordan, you got that assault on camera from multiple angles, right? Already sent it to your lawyer, he replied via text, along with the signed media releases and unedited footage. My lawyer called next. They're trying to claim defamation, she said, sounding amused. I reminded them that truth is an absolute defense. Also, your grandmother's original house deed? They never had the legal right to remortgage your portion. We're looking at serious fraud charges. What about mother's assault? Battery charges filed this morning. The video evidence is crystal clear. I walked to my floor-to-ceiling windows, looking out over the city I'd conquered on my own. Any response from their lawyer? They're claiming emotional distress from public humiliation. I laughed. Funny how that works both ways. Another text from Hadley. Your parents just got kicked off the hospital charity board. Something about no longer reflecting community values. The doorbell rang. A courier delivered a thick manila envelope, Caleb's lawsuit threat. I added it to my grandmother's box, now repurposed for documenting their downfall. Rosalie came over with wine and takeout. You know what's crazy? People are sharing their own stories now. You're trending under Thouard family fraud. She showed me the posts, hundreds of people sharing similar stories of family betrayal and financial abuse. Maybe some good can come from this mess, I mused. Already has. Look. She pulled up a news article about increased fraud reporting in family financial cases. You inspired people to speak up. My phone buzzed yet again. Father's number. What do you want? I answered coldly. Please, his voice cracked. We're staying with Caleb, his apartment. It's not suitable for your mother's health conditions. Sounds like a personal problem. Princess, please, don't call me that ever again. We'll make it right, he begged. Whatever you want. What I wanted was parents who wouldn't steal from me. What I wanted was a brother who saw me as more than an ATM. What I wanted was a family who'd answer their phone when their daughter was sleeping in her car. Silence. But what I'll settle for, I continued, is watching you face consequences. How's that investor meeting going, by the way? The one Caleb had scheduled for today? He hung up. Rosalie poured more wine. You okay? Better than okay. I showed her my grandmother's note. She knew. She always knew they'd try to break me. Instead, you broke their whole facade. My laptop pinged, an email from Jordan with the final edited footage. Want to watch? He asked. Post it, I replied. All of it. You sure? It's pretty raw. I thought about that scared, broken girl standing in the rain 10 years ago, how she'd rebuilt herself from nothing, turning pain into power. I'm sure, I typed. Someone else might need to see it. Someone else might need to know they're not crazy for standing up to family abuse. Posted, he confirmed minutes later. I raised my glass to my grandmother's note, now framed on my wall. Here's to unsilenced truth. Rosalie clinked her glass against mine. And to karma, served ice cold with video evidence. The mansion felt different now. Not empty exactly, but cleansed. I walked through the ballroom where it all went down, my heels clicking on marble that no longer echoed with fake laughter and hollow promises. My phone lit up with a news alert. Local tech entrepreneur faces federal fraud charges. Caleb's mugshot stared back at me. The FBI had finally connected the dots between his failed ventures and missing investor funds. Karma really said, "Hold my beer," didn't she? Rosalie remarked, scrolling through her own phone. Your parents' country club membership got revoked too. How tragic, I deadpanned. Whatever will mother do without her weekly bridge game? The doorbell rang. Hadley stood there, clutching a thick folder. You need to see this. My mom found more documents about your old house. I led them to my office, where Jordan was already setting up his camera. Still documenting? I asked. People want to know how the story ends, he shrugged. Your video hit 5 million views. Hadley spread the papers across my desk. Look at these dates. They started planning to take your house months before Caleb's startup even launched. They were using you as a backup plan the whole time. My hands shook as I read the documents. They knew his business was a scam from the beginning. They knew everything, Hadley confirmed. My mom's firm handled the paperwork. She quit over it, said it was clearly fraud. My phone buzzed. Father again. What now? I answered on speaker. Your mother's in the hospital, he said quietly. The stress, her heart. Really? I scrolled through my security camera app. Because my cameras show her shopping at Nordstrom an hour ago. He hung up. Still trying to manipulate you, Rosalie observed. Old habits die hard. I picked up my grandmother's framed note. But so does the truth. Jordan's camera beeped. Speaking of truth, you've got a visitor coming up your driveway. On the security feed, I watched Mother march toward my front door, designer handbag swinging. I buzzed her in before she could ring the bell. Come to slap me again? I asked as she burst into my office. Jordan's still filming, by the way. You've destroyed everything, she spat. Our reputation, our social standing. Your fraud scheme? Hadley held up the documents. Your illegal remortgage plan? Mother's face went pale. Where did you get those? Turns out Karma keeps excellent records. I stood up. Why are you really here? She deflated slightly, sinking into a chair. We need money. The legal fees. Caleb's arrest. Your father's golf friends won't even take his calls anymore. Fascinating, I replied. Tell me, where were these concerns when I needed help? That was different. You're right, it was different. I was innocent. I had done nothing wrong except trust my family. I walked to my wall safe and pulled out an envelope. Here's your loan application rejection letter. I had it prepared weeks ago. You knew I would come asking? Mother, I knew everything you would do. I learned from the best, remember? She stood up shakily. So that's it? You'll just let your family suffer? No, I smiled. I'm letting you face consequences. There's a difference. The court seized Caleb's assets. She tried one last time. We have nowhere to go. Actually, Rosalie chimed in, I hear the extended stay motel by the highway has weekly rates. Mother left without another word, but her designer heels didn't click quite so confidently on their way out. You okay? Hadley asked after she was gone. I looked around my office, at Jordan still filming, at Rosalie and Hadley with their unwavering support, at my grandmother's note reminding me to speak my truth. I'm perfect, I replied. For the first time in 10 years, everything is exactly as it should be. My phone pinged with a final news alert. Family fraud video sparks national conversation about financial abuse. Want to know the best part? Jordan showed me his camera screen. Every time they try to spin this, every time they play victim, every time they attempt another manipulation, it's all documented. Their lies don't work anymore. They never will again, I said firmly. Rosalie raised an eyebrow. Any regrets? I walked to my window, looking out at the city I'd built myself back up in. Somewhere out there, my parents were facing a future without their social masks. Caleb was learning that actions have consequences, and I was finally free. Just one regret, I smiled, that I didn't do this sooner. I turned back to my friends, my real family, and felt lighter than I had in years. Now who's hungry? I hear there's a great extended stay motel diner we could try. Their laughter filled my mansion, and this time the echoes felt exactly right.